This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, thank you. So we're now out of in-camera. And there is one motion that's coming forward from our in-camera session.
Should we have the additions first?
Yes,
The emergency meeting to order and.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that would have been done prior to moving in camera.
Yeah. Additions to the meeting,
Okay, so we do have a couple of items that we will be discussing after we deal with the motion coming from in camera. One item is a request coming forward from the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce for a support letter for their initiative to increase capacity and educational grant for offshore wind. The second item is for, I believe Huey was
it's
the Old Sydney Road
the old Sydney Road
intersection. And was there a third item?
Working on the work, but down there now.
Was there another item too? Or just those two? Okay, perfect.
It's got a couple of.
So just those two items. So the motion coming out of in camera. Should we have Terry?
Yes, your worship, yes. So from in camera, following motion for consideration that the taxi license appeal be denied and that the inspector's recommendation be upheld.
Okay, what's the wishes of council?
So good question. So seconded.
Okay,
So
moved by Councilor MacGyver, seconded by Councilor Corey. I wanted to call you Deputy Mayor. I'm sorry. Anyway, any discussion on the motion?
so
Question?
we're in their emergency meeting now, is that right?
Correct.
And we're dealing with
A motion that came from out of
came
in
from
camera.
the in-camera. Okay. And why are we doing that now as part of the emergency meeting instead of in-camera meeting?
Because you can't make a motion in camera.
No,
It has to come out of
instead of-
in camera into public
Well,
meeting.
that's right, this committee of the whole is coming up.
Right, that's
Right.
correct.
Okay.
And it's time
Just not to belabor it.
Yeah, and it's time sensitive.
Okay, is there any other questions or
Question.
comments? The question has been
Question.
called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? The motion is approved. And just to make a note that Councillor or Deputy Mayor O'Coin wasn't part of the in-camera session nor the vote, as he declared a conflict on that item.
So it was
So-
unanimous.
And it was unanimous, correct. So the first item we will deal with is a request coming forward from the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce. What's the thoughts of council on a support letter in principle, which will be circulated to council?
I will move that we send a support letter in principle for the
Thank
Strait
you.
Area Chamber for their support. for the
Submission?
offshore.
The submission is going in November 18th, I believe, so that's a kind of a time sensitive
I'll
item.
second it.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor O'Coin. Any discussion on the motion? Or
Question.
question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
If
Sure.
you explain, maybe everybody knows it. I asked the mayor a question before, where's I
Sure.
on this? And she said, well, this is not nothing to do with I. So it's
Right.
in general.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows
So,
I asked to.
Yep.
You know.
yeah, so the submission that is being put forward on behalf of the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce also involves some folks that have been working diligently on the offshore wind file. And I guess the ultimate goal of this particular submission is to increase capacity, to increase knowledge and research, and ultimately to hold a symposium on offshore wind in the new year, in January or February. So the application would be to receive funds to be able to check off all those boxes. And it's for offshore wind as an emerging industry in general. Ultimately, it will have some benefit to Ivan's project, but it's not built on Ivan's project. It's separate, independent from that.
Right.
Okay, any other questions, or if you can call the question if you're
Question.
ready.
Question.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Okay, the motion is approved unanimously. The other item we have, I will defer to Huey to be able to, I think it was an item that you brought forward, Huey?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor McDougall.
Last couple of days, I was talking to Jason and I mentioned it to Terry last week. I was looking at the diagrams for the work that's being done down on Disney Road / Granville Street. What I would suggest, and what I would like to do, is I would like to continue the sidewalk part
Mhm.
to Kennedy Street on Granville Street and to Bernard Street on Sydney Road. We can have that connection there. That is one of the biggest concerns that I get from people walking. I know Maura walks a lot, if we see her walking, she's got to go out on the side, it's going to be changed, but she's got to go out the side and it's coming down. And that, the two, since we got the people here now
Mhm.
to do it. And I would make a motion that we do that.
Okay, so Terry, is there any kind of like any information you could potentially add to that, or?
Yeah, so we have
Do
looked,
we want a second motion?
just want to get on the table.
No
Oh,
second,
yes.
no debate.
Well,
If
yes,
there's no
I think you
second,
could-
there's no debate, you're right.
Yeah, you can second the motion just so we can have
Yeah,
discussion. Okay, so go ahead, Terry.
So we have looked, I looked at going down Kennedy Street. I didn't look at going up to Bernard Street. Do you have, Aaron, you had some pictures before? Let's have a look
Is
at it.
this not where we're putting the AT trail eventually?
Yeah, well, that's an issue too,
So why-
especially up the side.
Well, why spend a pile of money today and then 3 years' time rip it up and put pavement in?
People don't break their neck for the next 3 years.
We're gonna do that, once we'll do everyone in Oxford,
Well, if we got the money, we would.
right? Let's not throw money away, I don't think.
So that picture that you have now, that Aaron has now, that's where we're planning to stop. So we do that, we do a cut at that. That's right before the retaining wall.
Mhm.
So we'll do a cut right there and put a new driveway entrance into that driveway. Do you have any other, what else do you have? Okay, that's beyond there. That's that retaining wall.
So it's just, I think that what the sidewalk looks like. I think that's just,
That's pretty consistent right through the county. It's 200 meters. It is
Yeah.
quite a piece.
and I do think that
Um,
the space that was looked at was just on, I don't think it was up Sydney Road the other way though. too.
No, we didn't look at going up Bernard Street. So up Bernard Street is probably where I would see the AT. Like, I think there's some options around Granville Street, especially on that end. But the up Old Sydney Road is probably gonna be AT as well.
But I thought, yeah, that was my thoughts, is that we weren't touching that because we were putting AT trail there.
Okay, so could you explain what you're hoping to accomplish, Huey? So
Well,
where you wanting?
Okay, let's go, we got there, that's, there's a lot of work gonna be done there now, and it's
So
gonna be.
this
it's
is
gonna look
Kennedy
great.
Street here.
Yeah, that's Kennedy, yeah. And stopping right about where the cursor is there is where we're stopping, isn't it?
I think it's up here.
Okay, right there with the cursor.
Yeah.
That's where we're stopping with the sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that we go to Kennedy Street. Because we have these people here to do the work. I know our works department do great work, but we just don't have the manpower to be doing that. Especially the winter going on, we don't. And we got them right there now, it's an opportunity.
We would need a costing for that, so.
So we have asked, we've asked Dexter to cost it for us, but we don't have that yet. We did an estimate based on quantities that we've worked with from before. It's
Jason
about-
gave me, and that's the other day.
Yeah, it's about 55,000.
Pardon me?
55,000.
Okay,
Right.
so that's just to do that stretch?
That's
That,
first
without the
one.
one on Bernard, yeah.
45 to 40.
I think he did a little more indeed.
And it might be, I just asked him to confirm this afternoon, so he came up on a break and just looked at his quantities. So the real number, the only real number that counts is Dexter's quote.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get that, and then we can make the decision on that.
Well, how, the other end, Aaron, could you get on
I
there?
can go to-
How far is that?
You mean up this way?
Up towards Bernard Street. I just wondering how far it is. I don't think it's all that far, if they connect there, would it be?
Almost as far. If that's 50, it's a
It would be a
difference.
good stretch.
I don't have
I don't want to spend $100,000 today that would cover over in 3 years.
That's something like being pushing daisies for 3 years.
Well, we might be, but the town shouldn't be. If we're gonna do it, if we're gonna agree to do something there, let's pave it, not pour concrete, because that's gonna be where the AT trail's gonna be anyway. Why doesn't it have to be Dexter?
They're there now. Get it done while they're there. Anyway,
So I'm gonna go south.
Excuse me.
So I was sidewalks a lot worse than that one.
yeah, they're working there, Jay. That's no problem. They're working there.
Just
Right there.
So if we can work in the middle of town on Queen Street, would we do all of Queen Street?
They would like to-
You know how to measure in here, Terry? I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do that in Google?
I can't remember. But you can look at it and
It's
so.
probably around the same, a
Let's
little
just-
bit less than the distance.
Yeah, so
That's 200 meters. This would be 150.
it'd be half, or it's a little more than half of that. So it'd be about 100 meters, 125
Yeah,
meters, something like
it
that.
would be less to connect to Glenora than it would be to connect to Kennedy.
But that AT lane that Jason was referring to, that's where that will probably go. So the first, and we're not there yet. We don't have money for that. But the next thing after we finish these 5 phases is to go up Old Sydney Road with AT.
From where-
And that'd be on, right from where we're talking about.
That's where it starts.
It starts at the bottom, Granville Street.
Right at the intersection.
Where to?
I seen, Jason, I seen things.
All the way up to Reed.
It's from Reeves to Granville.
Yeah.
And go just stop and that's it.
Yeah, so it's part of Blue Route. So Granville Street's considered a low volume street.
They want to
Get
take
on
the
AT and
street.
then go up over there.
Another
The Blue Route?
choice.
No, so we turn that down. Their first
There's not
option.
enough cyclists in this town to warrant 500 feet of pavement. There's walkers.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm more interested in the walkers, or as I said, 100 times, multi-use sidewalk.
Yeah,
Yes.
multimodal trail.
Right. Never mind Blue Route and bicyclists. There's not enough.
AT lane on Granville Street is very challenging and we haven't figured that out yet because there's just not a lot of room there. So we don't, but the big thing is, let's get down to the waterfront as quick as we can with that. And then come along the waterfront, then come back up as far down as we can.
Right.
There's an existing crossing on the other side, on the Pitt Street side of Granville Green that we can come back up. And then we're on low volume again. If you look at any city, if you look at Halifax, if you look at even like Ottawa and the larger cities, there's always stop and go, right? There's always places where you go on the road and then you pick it up again and you go. I think Granville Street's gonna be one of those. I think it's too difficult. So that sidewalk, to me, that sidewalk is one of the most used in town.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just a really common place for people to, from all parts of town, to walk. And I think it's a good idea. Because we just can't get, sorry.
Yeah. Can you put the picture up, Aaron, that you had before,
Early one?
where I think you were showing how far the work is scheduled to go down there right now on Granville?
This one here, you mean, like to the first driveway?
Ben Gales.
Was it Ben Gales or was it the retaining wall?
Do you want the actual pictures?
The retaining walls down here.
Did you say it was going as far as the retaining wall? That's where they were gonna cut out?
That could have been
Not that
my
far.
mistake.
I don't think it's that far.
No, it's the
You
driveway.
mean these pictures?
That's
Yeah,
at
those
the
pictures,
first
yeah.
driveway
That's
just
Ben
past it.
Gales right there.
Yeah, that is.
And that's as far as they're going, correct?
Correct.
They're gonna fix that driveway entrance.
I think that's it, Jen.
Yeah,
So that retaining wall is down further.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
So to go from Ben Gales down to Kennedy Street, that would be an
55,000.
improvement for that walkway, right? At 3 years, 4 years, that's what we're looking at
Mhm.
for funding for the AT trail or Old Sydney Road. Well, then this part of it will be done by concrete and then the rest of it would carry on with asphalt, if that's how things would go.
Yeah.
But I think since, as Huey's saying, since they're there, to go from Ben Gales down I definitely think we should be looking to do that.
So that would add an extra like $50-ish thousand.
55,000 is our estimate.
But see the two orange lines there?
That was my next
two-
question.
The two orange lines that were right by the pickup, that's the actual new sidewalk.
Do we have any,
Two orange lines by the pickup.
what do we have
See the
left?
pickup there?
Oh, here.
See the lines there?
Yes.
That's your new sidewalk.
Right.
So that's gonna be all brand new concrete.
Mhm.
And I know that,
And curb.
and curb.
Yep.
And money's I know, a big thing.
But it would complete that stretch of street.
It'll complete that stretch, but also wherever you're doing this, and as the deputy mayor was saying, and bicycles and multi-use, look at the width. Like if you go an extra couple of feet wide, wherever you can, that makes it wider for your cyclists and your walkers.
And your strollers and
And that's what, from the first time this started, and I did a lot of reading and looking in Ontario, they did all this out on the street with cyclists and cycle lanes and everything.
They're still using the sidewalk.
3,000 signatures on a petition in front of the council to change it back. They wanted their multi-use sidewalk because they don't feel comfortable out with the traffic. And they probably had 10 times more cyclists than what we had. But they call it, they don't call it a sidewalk, they call it a multi-use.
So I have two questions. Is this something Dexter could do in addition?
We don't know that yet, so we're really pushed against time here too.
Yeah,
So we gotta find out price and if they can actually do it.
Yeah.
And so right up until this morning, we thought we were just doing one side of this intersection as well. So this morning, we have the agreement and we'll do both. There you go.
Yeah, so how far up Old Sydney Road is the current project scheduled to go?
So if you look at there's edge of building right here.
What's that?
There's edge of build, that's the end of the building. So
Okay.
that's the Gary's,
So from there to Bernard Street,
just beyond that.
it's not much.
from there to Bjarne's, yeah,
It won't be a whole 500 feet, maybe.
Huh?
That's, I'm gonna tell you point blank, I'm not interested in spending money on that street right now. We got sidewalks twice as bad as that. We've got sidewalks on Hiram where I'm getting calls that people can't push their strollers. And we're worried about a corner on Granville Street. So does that mean the next project that happens in Hawkesbury, there's a sidewalk there, we're gonna fix it?
let's look then.
Come on, guys, we're wasting money here.
It's a democratic process. You vote on things.
I know you do, I'm just saying my opinion.
So, my second question, well, the first question was, can Dexter do it? And the second question I have
You
is,
can't do it.
are we able to absorb some of the cost of that in our current budget? Like, or have we exhausted our curb and sidewalk?
There's probably
Amount?
maybe 20,000 in your asphalt budget that,
Okay, but we
unless
could
there's,
draw from.
unless there's invoices that are outstanding that I don't know about yet.
Okay.
And based on probably some change orders that are happening in your capital plan for this project, you may have 10,000, so,
Okay.
but I don't know.
So-
I can't guarantee that right
Okay,
now.
so we could be looking at the 25 to 30,000 that we would have to
For the
look
piece on,
for,
for the piece to go to.
just for that part,
Yeah.
but not for Bernard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to give pricing for
Yeah.
the rest of it from the end of the current project to
So-
Bernard Street, right, that intersection?
Well, both, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, both.
So tech,
The change order would be
I don't have my phone.
more than the existing
Is our council meeting?
contract, so that's big as an issue too.
And you're not putting sidewalk on the opposite side.
So could we,
No.
would Tuesday for committee of the whole, would that be enough time to answer those two questions?
Yep.
Okay,
How long are
so
they down here?
We'll be here till Tuesday.
Pardon me?
We'll be here till Tuesday anyway. So as soon as we get the information back, we'll,
you can circulate it to council
We'll get
meeting
it.
email.
Absolutely, yes.
So when we're looking at this, can we
So
also,
we didn't even get the vote, yet. Maybe we turned down, we're not doing it. We gotta vote on this.
But in order
It might be
to,
turned down, Jason, did you get?
well,
It might be again.
my thoughts are, I feel more comfortable voting on something when I have all the correct information.
With a cap.
so what about Bernard Street from this old Sydney Road over at least as far as Sharps? Not going all the way to Kennedy Street, but that's the worst part of that sidewalk.
I don't know where Sharps is. Where Sharps?
Jerry Sharp, next to Louis Talbot.
On gravel.
No, on Bernard.
Oh, going up there.
No?
So there's only 2 driveways in the cemetery, so. Which, here,
No, go the other way.
No, no.
Across the street, he's going across on the street. Right. Jeez.
what do you want to do up Bernard Street?
Sidewalk curb.
Oh, all the way?
Yeah.
Is there one there?
There's remains of one.
That Bernard Street needs a major rebuild, Rich.
Yeah, it does.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the street, curb and sidewalk.
Yeah, absolutely does. So maybe around that's an issue that we would, Look at next year's budget.
Yeah, I think we want to push that to our budget discussions, that's for sure. I mean,
I think.
at the tail end of this current budget, I don't think we want to throw a cost like that out there.
Bernard Street's not in great shape for sure. Not at all.
Really?
Well, it's not very shape. Exactly. It's-
Yeah, we discussed it already.
Maybe what we want to do is look at all the streets. so-
It was a complete rebuild on
Look at
that.
everyone. Yeah,
That's what
you can't even patch it.
No, that was all a complete rebuild.
Yeah.
Of the street, like some
Including base.
base.
And you have a list of that Jason has done for
Well,
years.
Jason has a process, it's all around asset management.
Yep.
And I mean, it's data driven, so it's not us just choosing a street, it's data driven in terms of what are the prioritized streets that need to be fixed. And
I know-
There's
I
a
know-
matrix involved.
And we're getting pretty informal here for me especially, but
Motion.
what we can do though,
Motion's still on the table.
You want to know what it is, but we're talking different streets, we're gonna be able to hit street pretty soon. Keep going.
what we can do though.
We're just talking about the process of determining what.
What about Tamarack
So
Drive?
we will go back though to the original motion. We have kind of gone down the wrong garden path on this. Anyway, any other comments or questions on the motion?
So the motion is,
Well, Dexter Construction is down that area to extend the curve on each end, from Kennedy to Bernard. That's the motion,
Without knowing the cost?
without knowing the cost. Motion,
question,
question.
From Kennedy to Bernard? Okay, no,
We're not doing the
I
whole
need to
thing.
be
We're
able,
not doing the whole
I need to be
thing.
able
On
to
each
understand
end.
exactly
On
what
each
you're,
end.
so what you're
Corner
doing,
Bernard Street.
so the old Sydney intersection, which you're,
We're not dealing with that, because that's being dealt with.
so the old Sydney intersection, instead of stopping on both ends incompleted, you want to
Sidewalk.
see that sidewalk extended to Bernard on one side and extended to Kennedy on the other.
Correct.
That's
how
your
wide?
motion.
Well, standard size. Standard size sidewalk is,
Okay.
you want that wider.
I thought that's what Mary
Did
did.
you say?
Okay, so I mean, there are a couple of what ifs obviously in the air. A, Dexter may not be able to have that in their schedule to do it. But it would be hinged on the fact that Dexter could do it and that we can afford the price tag. Anyway, but be it as it may, that's the question that's been called. That's the wishes of council on this motion. All in
Aye.
favor? Contrary minded?
Aye.
So at committee of the whole, we should have the information to determine, and I mean, it's, pending those factors.
I don't know how you can go into and say you're gonna do something without having a price. That's not responsible whatsoever.
Well,
It's not.
We
What if you come
will,
back and say it's $120,000?
Aye.
Is it worth it?
Aye.
Right?
Yeah.
You did.
I got a house, you wanna buy it without seeing it?
No, but I've seen the sidewalk many times, Jason. Many times.
That's not what we're paying for.
so we have one
I've seen
other,
people trip.
we have, do we have any other items? No, that's it. Motion to adjourn.
Probably so, no.
Moved.
Kate, seconded,
Seconded.
seconded by Councillor MacGyver. All those in favor, please signify by saying
All
aye.
right.
Contrary minded? Okay, motion's approved. I